I'm going to show you a few tips to improve your kids' outdoor photography. So let's start. Hey there, this is Terrence, and if this is your first time at my channel and you're looking to improve your photography through tips, tricks, and techniques, then what you want to do is hit subscribe and click on the bell icon and you'll be notified of all my upcoming videos. A common request I often get is about kids' photography. And if you're like me and you have a couple small kids, you're probably finding a lot of your time outdoors in a playground or a park or some other place where they're running around and you want to take some great snapshots of them outside. So I made this fun little video of 3 core tips you need to follow to take great shots of your kids when you're outside with them. The first thing you want to do is actually pay attention to the background of the photo you're about to take. If you look at the picture I'm pulling up right now, you actually see this red townhouse complex in the background. It looks terrible and does not add a thing to the image. What you want to do is really focus on the background you're going to have. There's 2 approaches you typically want to take in my mind. First, you want to try to do a background that's going to add context to what you're at, what you're doing, and add to the story. And this is one of the themes I have in the videos I've already produced so far and the ones that I'm creating, is story is so important to your photo. This doesn't tell you any story outside if it's a little girl in front of a townhouse complex. Doesn't really say much, does it? The other option you have is to actually have a background that's more neutral and doesn't overpower your subject at all. Sometimes this could be a bit easier than finding something that's going to add to the story that's contextual. Generally the story and the context is always better if you can have that in your background. It adds to the photo. But if you don't have any other choice, something neutral, not overpowering, doesn't have too many complex shapes in it like that townhouse, a lot of angles and architecture. If you just had like just greenery in the background or sky or something like that, that'd probably be a lot more interesting than something that's like a townhouse or a building that is not contextual. The next thing you want to do is actually avoid direct sunlight. This may seem odd because you might think more light the better. It's photography, you need light to take a picture. But what the harsh sun will do is actually create some pretty bad shadows and overblow parts of your picture. So take a look at this photo that I've put up. And while it is a cute picture of my daughter on a swing, if you notice, part of her cheek is really white because the sun's hitting it directly. Her hat's creating a shadow, making it a bit darker. Her jacket is a bit bright in some spots, it's a bit dark in other spots, and while that kind of lighting can add drama in certain situations, and if you know what you're doing, in this situation it just doesn't make for a very good photo. It's not too bad, but a lot of times having that harsh sunlight can actually create very bad shadowing on the face or on the features that you want to capture, so you want to avoid it. What you do want to look for is a place in the playground, park, or wherever you might be that has a bit of shadow to it. I warn you, if you're under a tree and depending how many leaves are out, you can get that dapper kind of look where you have spots of light and spots of shadow on your subject. Yeah, you don't want to do that. That does not look flattering at all for anybody. But if you have a tree with good coverage and the shadow there, or there's some structures nearby creating shadow, or a large tree trunk, frankly, in a certain area that can create shadow, that's fantastic. If you take a look at this picture that I'm pulling up, I had her sitting on the middle of a seesaw, and there was a tree nearby creating a shadow just in that area. So while this is not the greatest picture, it's an improvement because you can see she has uniform color and lighting all over her. Nothing's too dark, nothing's overblown, and if we do have to do some corrections to it in Photoshop or in Lightroom, you don't have any one spot of the picture which is going to be contrasting the other, so you can just correct the whole body and the whole face at the same time rather than worrying about differences there. So this is the kind of thing you want to look for. Doesn't take much effort to find just the right spot. If you want to have them stop and take a quick shot when they're there, that would work great. And also quickly notice in this photo, the background no longer an ugly townhouse building, but it is part of the playground set. Adds a little more context, which is what you want in a good photo. One thing I don't like about this though is a little too overpowering, but we're going to get to that in a second. And that leads me to the third and final tip in this video, and that is use a wide aperture. The reason you want to do that is wide aperture lets in more light, so first when they're running around you'll be able to take shots a lot quicker, so you'll be able to freeze them if you need to. But when you're taking a portrait shot like this, it blurs your background. So if you look at this shot right now versus the one I just took a moment ago in the same spot, you could see that the playset in the background is blurred out a lot more, no longer is overpowering. It's a much better shot from that perspective. Still not the best kind of background, but given the park I was in, what I had to work with, this was it. Would have been nice if my daughter wanted to smile for me at the time, but I think she was getting a little sick of me taking pictures and wanted to go back to running around, which was fine. I let her do that. But use a wide aperture. Depending on the lens you have, that's probably going to be 5.6 or 4.0 or lower. So if you don't understand aperture, you can check out my video on how to set aperture, shutter speed, and manual mode on a Canon 5D Mark II. If you don't have that kind of camera, it's going to be very similar technique on almost any DSLR, so you can check out that video. That'll help you out. But do not use a narrow aperture, which is the higher number. That is just going to create a more detailed background, and it's going to make your subject, I don't want to say blend in with the background, but it's going to give less of a contrast. And what you want to do with these kinds of outdoor kids playing shots, which are, in my view, are just active portrait shots, is blur the background. And the final thing is, if you like this video, click the like button right now. Put a comment in there to let me know what you thought of it. If you have any other suggestions of videos, put that down there as well, or just tell me anything, I don't care. And subscribe if you've not already done so. And if you want to receive my free ebook which shows you how to take fantastic sunsets, click on the link below in the description and you could sign up and get my free guide right away, and you'll start taking awesome sunset photos this summer. Wouldn't that be great? Hope you like this video, and I'll see you soon.